fire,
pain.
progress. These really explosive ideas, they're at the heart of one of the biggest Greek myths, right? About invention, about rebellion.
Absolutely. We're talking about Prometheus.
The Titan, who basically looked at the gods on Olympus, looked at Zeus and said, nope, humanity deserves better, whatever the cost.
Yeah, and it's so much more than just, a story about how things began. It's this deep meditation on knowledge, on freedom.
And the price, what's the price for taking that leap?
Is freedom worth eternal suffering? That's the core question.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're looking into the sources, the history, the philosophy behind Prometheus. Why did his punishment become the symbol?
Right, the symbol for sacrifice, the cost of, well, technological freedom, really.
Chained up, liver eaten out every day. It's brutal. But it means something profound. We're trying to get the shortcut to understanding this figure who, essentially kicked off human civilization as we know it.
And the basic story sets the stage perfectly. He steals fire from the gods.
From Zeus himself.
Gives it to humans. And the punishment is instant, it's horrific, and it's meant to last forever. Eternal torment for that act of defiance.
Okay, so let's back up a bit. Who was Prometheus? Before the fire, before the punishment. He's a Titan, we know that.
Yes, a Titan. But the classical texts really frame him as the protector, almost the architect of humanity.
And his name, that's fascinating.
It is, Prometheus. It literally means forethought.
Forethought, okay.
Or, the one who foresees, which is crucial.
Why crucial?
Because it tells you he wasn't impulsive. He knew. He foresaw the consequences of defying Zeus, the catastrophe it would bring down on him. He saw the whole path.
Wow. Okay, so he acted deliberately. And wasn't he also involved in, actually making humans?
Some myths say exactly that, shaped us from clay. And he consistently stepped in when Zeus wanted to keep humanity, well, primitive, ignorant and weak.
So he taught them things.
Taught them arts, skills, and then came the big one, the fire. After a major falling out with Zeus, this was his way of giving humanity the key.
The key to what, exactly? Survival.
Survival, yes, but also dominance. He was trying to level the playing field. Zeus wanted power centralized, mortals kept in their place. Prometheus saw potential. He saw that spark in us.
And the fire he stole wasn't just, for cooking stew.
Not at all. The sources we looked at are clear. This was divine fire, the essence of energy, creation, technology itself.
So the literal spark of civilization.
Exactly.
It let humans create, build tools, warm themselves, fight off the dark.
And develop culture, develop thought. It ignited progress.
Allowed humanity to kind of step out of the shadows.
Precisely. Before fire, humans were defined by need, by weakness. After fire, they had the potential to challenge the gods themselves. Prometheus gave them evolution.
But in doing so, he completely upended the cosmic order.
He did. And challenging the king of the gods, well, that brings consequences.
Swift and terrifying, you said. Zeus wasn't just mad about, stolen property?
No, it was about the transfer of divine power. That's why the punishment was so specific, so calculatedly cruel.
The crime was hubris, right? Overstepping, defying the gods.
Textbook hubris. So they take him to the Caucasus Mountains, chain him to a rock so he can't move.
And then the eagle, or a vulture. Every single day.
Often called Ethon, yeah. Comes down, tears out his liver.
Okay, I have to ask about this detail from the sources. Why the liver? It seems oddly specific. Did the ancient texts explain that choice? Was it just random cruelty?
That's a really good question, actually.
Yeah.
And no, not random. It ties directly into the meaning of the punishment. In ancient Greek thought, especially sort of pre-Socratic ideas, the liver was often considered the seat of the soul.
The soul.
And passion, emotions.
Yeah.
And crucially, prophetic thought. Foresight.
Ah. So Zeus was attacking the very source of Prometheus's defining trait, the thing that made him forethought.
Exactly. Punishing the organ that allowed him to foresee the future and feel that compassion for humanity that drove him to act. It's incredibly dark when you think about it that way.
It connects the punishment directly to the crime and the regeneration.
Right. He's immortal. So the liver grows back overnight, every night, ready for the eagle the next day. The torture wasn't just eternal, it was this constant physical reminder of his defiance.
But Zeus didn't just stop at punishing Prometheus, did he? The sources link another disaster directly back to this whole fire incident. He went after humanity too.
He did. The retaliation against us, the recipients of the gift, that's where Pandora comes in.
Pandora's box. Or wait, you said jar.
Yeah, technically Pandora's jar, pithos in Greek. Zeus had Hephaestus create Pandora, the first woman, as this beautiful but deceptive gift.
For Trojan horse, basically.
Pretty much. sent to Prometheus' brother,
The
Epimetheus.
hindsight guy. Oh, boy.
Exactly. And Prometheus had warned him, never accept a gift from Zeus. But Epimetheus, well, he didn't listen. He accepted Pandora.
And she had the jar with her.
Filled with all the evils, sickness, misery, hard labor, death, all the suffering that plagues humankind.
And once it was opened,
They all flew out, spreading across the world, forever changing things for humans.
wasn't there something left inside?
Hope. According to some versions, hope remained trapped at the bottom. But the message is stark. The fire, the knowledge, the progress.
Yeah.
It came bundled with immediate and lasting suffering for everyone.
Paid for by Prometheus's eternal agony and by human misery unleashed from the jar. Wow.
The price was paid twice.
Okay, this is where, for me, it gets really interesting. Because the fire stops being just fire, it becomes a metaphor.
The very powerful one. The sources we looked at consistently push past the physical. The fire represents knowledge, reason.
And even political freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about it. Knowledge, reason. These are inherently disruptive forces. They challenge authority.
Which is why that modern comparison you mentioned feels so apt, even if it's a bit startling.
Which one?
Prometheus as the first hacker of mythology.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
That analogy. It's actually quite brilliant, I think, more than just a soundbite.
How so? Explain that.
Well, picture Zeus as the mainframe,
Yeah.
the central closed system. Divine authority, the ultimate firewall.
Yeah.
Prometheus finds a vulnerability. He hacks into Olympus,
Right.
bypasses security, and leaks the restricted code, the fire, the technology, to the end users, humanity.
He released classified information.
Yeah.
Stolen knowledge.
Exactly. And framing it like that just throws this massive philosophical question into sharp relief, one we're still wrestling with constantly.
Which is?
What's the real ethical cost of progress? Every time we innovate, push boundaries, fire, printing press, nuclear energy, AI, someone has to break the rules, challenge the status quo.
And there's always a price. Always unforeseen consequences, like Pandora's jar opening again and again.
And the crucial part is that act of hacking, of giving us the tech, it puts the responsibility on us. We got the fire, now what do we do with it? The myth shows that clash. Authority versus freedom, innovation versus the potential for disaster.
Prometheus didn't just give us a lighter, he gave us the engine for critical thought.
Which power structures often fear.
Yeah, you see that in Zeus's reaction. It wasn't just anger, it felt political. He had to make an example, crush the source of the rebellious idea itself.
Making Prometheus the original dissident, the first martyr for knowledge.
Which cements him as this ultimate archetype, right? Not just a character.
Definitely. He's the revolutionary, the thinker who chooses enlightenment, even knowing it leads to pain. The rebel, the martyr.
And his suffering, that daily horror show with the eagle, it's explicitly presented as the cost.
The cost of freedom. The price of moving from just obeying to thinking for ourselves.
And the influence of this story, this archetype, it's huge. It echoes everywhere.
Massively. The sources point out how his sacrifice, the chains, the torment for mankind's benefit, you see shades of it in other belief systems, other stories of redemption through suffering.
Right, and the thinkers throughout history have picked him up as a symbol. The Enlightenment loved him.
Oh yes, he was the hero of reason, bringing light against superstition's darkness. Perfect for them.
But then the Romantics saw him differently again, didn't they?
They did. For the Romantics, he became the ultimate creative individual, the lone genius, the artist fighting against stodgy society and oppressive rules. Think Byron, Shelley.
Ah, Shelley. That brings us to maybe the most famous direct echo, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yes. And the subtitle tells you everything.
The modern Prometheus, it's right there.
It's such a profound connection. Victor Frankenstein is the modern Prometheus. He steals the spark of life itself. That's the ultimate forbidden knowledge, right? Bypassing God, bypassing nature.
He creates life, the ultimate technological, maybe biological hack.
But just like in the original myth, what happens immediately?
Disaster, suffering. Not chains and an eagle, but consequences.
Devastating consequences. Frankenstein, the creator, is tormented by his creation, by loneliness, guilt, the destruction of everyone he loves. His misery is the price for that stolen spark.
It brings the myth right into our world. When we grasp these immense powers, are we ready for the pain? Are you ready for the monsters we might create?
Exactly. The fire gave us tools and warmth, but Pandora opened the jar of sorrows. They came together.
So Prometheus basically defined this core human struggle. Do we obey authority, stay safe, or do we pursue knowledge, create, innovate, even if it's messy and painful and dangerous?
He chose creation. He chose thought over comfort.
And we live with the results. We're the children of Prometheus, aren't we? We have the fire, the knowledge.
And all the responsibility that comes with it. Every new breakthrough, every technological leap, it potentially opens another Pandora's jar of ethical questions and unforeseen problems.
The power is ours, but so is the burden of what we build and, yeah, who gets hurt along the way.
Prometheus suffered so we could create, so we could think. So here's the thought we want to leave you with, drawing straight from this deep dive. Are we today truly prepared to pay a similar price? Or even just accept the suffering that might come with the next piece of knowledge that disrupts everything? The kind of knowledge that inevitably brings pain along with progress.
Something to think about next time you hear about a revolutionary breakthrough.
All right, let's dive into one of the most powerful myths ever told. I mean, this is a story about rebellion, about sacrifice, and really about the spark that ignited human civilization itself. We're talking about the story of Prometheus and the incredible price of fire.
It all starts with this one single element. Think about it. It's this incredible force that can forge our tools, cook our food, but at the same time, it can burn entire cities to the ground. It's creation and destruction, all wrapped up in one. And with that incredible power comes an almost unbearable consequence: a price. And we're not talking about a price that gets paid for a day or a year. No, this was for eternity, all because of one single act of defiance. So what was it all for? What was the point of the fire? The reason behind all that pain? Well, it boils down to the ultimate goal, really: our freedom. You see, this is so much more than just some old story about ancient gods. It's a story about a choice that was made for us, and about the one hero who was willing to pay that ultimate price.
All right, so who was this guy at the center of it all? Let's get to know him. The protector, the rebel, the titan we call Prometheus.
Okay, so Prometheus. He was a titan, from that generation of gods that came before Zeus and the Olympians we all know. And his name is it's fascinating. It literally means the one who foresees or forethought. The story goes that he was the one who actually created humanity, shaped us from clay. And because of that, he saw himself as our greatest protector.
So picture the world through his eyes for a second. On one side, you've got us, humanity, just kind of shivering in the cold and the dark, totally helpless, living in ignorance. And then on the other side, you have the gods up on Mount Olympus. They're all powerful, they've got all the warmth, all the light, and they're just hoarding knowledge for themselves. It was this massive inequality that he just couldn't stand by and watch.
And that right there brings us to the absolute core of this myth, the pivotal moment, the act of defiance that was going to change everything for both gods and for us. So what did he actually do? Well, you can break it down. First, he saw our plight, right? He saw us suffering. That led him to defy Zeus's direct command to keep us in the dark. Next up was the big one, the theft. He goes right into the heart of Olympus and steals the sacred fire. And finally, the delivery. He brought that spark down to mankind. Make no mistake, this was a totally calculated, deliberate act of rebellion.
But that just raises a huge question, doesn't it? Why? I mean, why would you risk eternal torture just to challenge the king of all the gods? Was he trying to grab power? Was it for his own glory?
The answer, well, it's actually both simple and incredibly profound. He did it for us. It had nothing to do with ego, nothing to do with gaining power for himself. His actions were just completely selfless. It was all about empowering these fragile creatures he'd made, creatures he felt this deep, deep responsibility to protect.
Now, you just can't get away with an act of defiance that big, not with Zeus. His revenge was swift and it was absolutely terrible. And the punishment? Oh, it was designed to be just as cruel and eternal as the gift of fire was powerful. So what did Zeus do? He had Prometheus chained to a rock way out in the Caucasus Mountains, and his torment became this relentless, horrifying cycle. I mean, listen to this. Every single sunrise, a giant eagle arrives and tears out his liver. And then, every single night, because he's immortal, his body regenerates it, just so the agony can start all over again the next day, and the next, forever.
And so his punishment became something much bigger than just simple revenge. It actually transformed into this incredibly powerful symbol. That unending pain he went through, it represents the ultimate sacrifice. It's the price that sometimes has to be paid for knowledge, for progress, for the future of all of us.
But okay, this is all building to something way deeper than just a cool story, right? So let's really unpack the philosophical weight behind this myth.
Because you really have to ask, right? Was this story really just about a physical flame? Or was what Prometheus gave us something much, much more powerful?
Yeah, the fire is absolutely a metaphor. What it really stands for is knowledge, reason, technology. And with all of that stuff comes freedom, the power for us to actually shape our own destiny. But, and this is a big but, it also comes with a pretty heavy burden: responsibility.
And that right there is why this story of Prometheus has lasted for so long. He's not just some character in a myth. He's what we call an archetype. He's like the original pattern, the model for every scientist, every artist, every revolutionary, really for anyone who dares to chase after truth and knowledge, even when they know it might come with a huge personal cost.
Okay, so now let's do something fun. Let's pull this ancient story right into our world, into the 21st century, because honestly, its themes have never been more relevant.
Just think about it this way. Prometheus was basically the first hacker in mythology. Seriously, he broke into a closed system, right? He bypassed the firewall that was set up by the ultimate authority, Zeus, and he leaked world-changing technology to the public. You could even say he was the original open-source advocate for all of humanity.
And what this does is it shines a light on a fundamental conflict that is, well, it's still playing out today. On one side, you have authority, which, let's be honest, often gets nervous about a population that can think for itself. And on the other side, you have freedom, that drive to innovate, to create, to push boundaries. But the myth reminds us that freedom always comes with a cost.
So where does that leave us? Well, the myth basically puts the choice right in our laps. We're the ones who inherited this fire. We are, in a very real sense, the children of Prometheus. And every single day, in big ways and small, we face that exact same dilemma that he did. Do we just accept the world as it is and obey? Or do we use the knowledge we have to challenge the status quo and be free? And that ultimately is what makes this story absolutely timeless. It's so much more than just a myth. It's like this emotional, universal cry that just echoes through the centuries. It's this raw expression of our deepest desire for freedom, our understanding of what pain is, and our profound respect for sacrifice. So I'm going to leave you with this one final thought. Prometheus suffered for eternity so that we could have the power to create, to innovate, and to be free. Now, as the ones who hold his gift, the question we all have to answer for ourselves is this: for the sake of progress, are we ready to pay that same price?